So as you can see, everything's really greening up. The grass is growing. You can see over there by the camper that it's grown a lot. And this all happened this week. And the day it happened, I mean, I could tell it grew like 2 inches in one day. I don't know if that's an exaggeration, but it sure did seem like it. And it, you know, it rains every day now. So it's cold today. I don't know if that's going to stagnate the growth any. It's supposed to get down to 37 tonight, so it may slow down. But my point is the grass is starting to grow. So, you know, I'm sitting here wondering, when will the customers actually start calling? Last year they started really heavy calling on April 8th. But Easter was, I don't know, I think April 20th something last year. So yesterday was Good Friday, today is Saturday, and tomorrow's Easter. So I recently told you about an old guy that didn't like the idea that I didn't have a big, huge shop. And one commenter said, I hope you learn to enjoy firing your customers like I do. And you know, I didn't know exactly what that meant. I don't enjoy conflict at all. So, I mean, if you enjoy firing your customers, I mean, that's fine. And I'm not criticizing that at all. I just don't, I guess I just don't have the same feeling about it. And I don't think I'll ever enjoy it. First of all, I live in a small town, so it's not like I can go around firing a lot of customers. But got a call yesterday at 3 o'clock. Now you got to understand, my regular business hours are till 4. So if somebody's calling at 3 o'clock, you know, it's already getting to the wrap-up point. Are they going to make it here in time to drop it off, or am I going to have to stay, you know, late? You know, because Carolyn likes to do things at 4 o'clock. You know, sometimes she'll say, hey, let's go to Dollar General, or hey, let's go to, you know, just for a drive. I mean, we've done that a lot. 4 o'clock before it gets dark, just go for a drive. So, you know, I like to make sure that she gets her time. I mean, this is really her retirement. And I think I've earned the right to, after 3 years of doing lawnmowers, that I should be able to take off at 4 o'clock. But that's all right. So he calls at 3. And he says, yeah, I got 2 neighbors here that tell me you do a really good job, and you'll come out and pick up lawnmowers. So my lawnmower won't go in forward or reverse. And he tells me exactly what it is. It's a John Deere S110, which is a fairly new model. The S model is only a few years old. So, you know, here it is 3 o'clock, and I'm like, wow, man, this is pretty late in the day. Of course, and remember, it's Good Friday. So I'm sitting there really thinking, do we even want to get involved with a run on Good Friday? And he says, oh, that's all right, I'm in a hurry. Can you come out tomorrow? And I said, yeah, we can come out tomorrow. So that's Saturday, that's today. So I said, I'll be there in between 10 and 11. I always try to give an hour span. That way, if I get lost, GPS doesn't work or something, I can get back to a phone signal and give them a call and say, okay, can you give more specific instructions on how to get to you, and still be there by the end time. That way, you know, I'm still on time. So anyway, we leave at about 9:50-ish. And we get there, you know, I don't know, 10:15 or so. I mean, we've got plenty of time. And so we get to the area, and I know the trolls just absolutely tell me I absolutely have to have a trailer. But here was another example where a trailer just would not have worked. There is no way to get a trailer down these roads. The turns are tight. There's retaining walls. It's just dangerous. And so I look at a trailer as a safety risk, that I'm going to go down these little roads. And so I just found out today that the big company 40 miles away will not take these lake roads with trailers. I just found this out today. So they're a dealer. They're a massive dealer that won't go on a lake road. So how did they deliver? I don't know. But they don't do it. So I don't feel too bad that I'm loading my truck up with my winch system, which I've showed you before. And I have showed you videos of me actually winching things up. Here's one right now. Okay, so you see how this kind of operates. And that was the very first time I ever loaded anything in the truck. Since then, I've gotten a lot better at it. I mean, it's so much smoother. I can do it in 15 minutes. That's with strapping it on and everything. So I know the trolls absolutely think this is a terrible idea. You got to have a trailer, but I just don't see it. I'm just not going to do it. So anyway, I get there, and these lake houses are so, you know, the lots are so small that they don't want to take up space for the shed on the same side of the road as the lake house. So most of these places have their shed or their garage on the other side of these little trails. So it would be like, this is the trail. And in all honesty, it's not much bigger than this. I mean, I think I could probably fit my truck on this. Maybe if I extended it out past the edge of this tree, that's about the size of the road. And so when you come into traffic, you have to find a driveway to pull into so that it can go one way and you can go to the other. So anyway, I get there, and so his shed is on one side, his house is on the other side. So they got the garage door open already. I see the John Deere in there. It says S110, exactly what I was supposed to pick up. So I back the truck up to the garage door, and I walk down to the house and I knock on it. And this young guy, now an old guy called me, I could tell from his voice. So this young guy comes to the door and says, yeah, hold on. And he puts his shoes on. I said, no, you don't have to come out. I got it. It's all right. As soon as I'm done, I'll come back and let you know. He says, no, I'm coming out. Well, immediately as he walks out, he says, you don't have a trailer? So I go through this, you know, the same routine. No, trailers are too dangerous for me to drive on these little roads. I just won't do it. It's too much liability. Well, I don't know about that. And then he starts using cuss words about the effing piece of junk John Deere and their effing junk, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So we get into the shed, the garage, and I want to look at it just for a second and see what, if, you know, maybe the bypass bar is pulled out and I can just push it in and we can get it going. Well, he immediately tries to grab the back end and pick it up so he could push it towards the truck. And I said, hold on, wait a minute. And I said, your brake's locked. So I unlocked the brake. I pushed the bypass bar back in because I pulled it out, thinking, well, wait, don't be pushing it or picking it up. So I put the bypass on. I said, can I start it? He says, yeah, you can start it. So I start it and it won't go, which is fine. That's what they called me for. So I look underneath and he starts pushing again. I said, wait. I'm literally trying to look at the belt. And the belt is loose. It has fallen off one of the idler pulleys. So that tells me some things. Maybe the pulley is wobbly and it just vibrated off, or the guard has fallen off, or the bolt has loosened up. You don't know. So I can see he's in a hurry to get this thing loaded onto the truck. So I start to just push it with one hand because it's in a shed. I mean, I can push it. It's not hard. And he just pushes it and it zings, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So I put the ramps down for the truck. Well, that's pretty steep. I don't know about this, but he's not seen the winch in action. You have. And I said, it'll work, I promise. And I look out at the path, you know, the thing that they call a road, thinking, well, maybe there's a lower spot to make this guy happy. Well, there wasn't. This is about as good as it was going to get because the ramps are inside the garage, which makes it completely flat. I don't have to worry about trying to juggle, you know, a lawnmower that's kind of tipped on the side a little bit. It makes things a little bit more complicated. Not a lot, but it's just easier if the ground is flat, like in a garage like that. So I start to hook up my battery cables, because the battery cables is what I hook onto the winch. So I grab the battery cables, and all of a sudden the old man fires up his four-wheeler ATV. Now I'm telling you, the house is no further away than our shed. I mean, it's 50 to 100 feet. It's walking distance. He fires this thing up, and comes rolling up just as fast as he can up to the garage. He shakes my hand. Well, he's interrupted the whole process. And the first thing he says, those ramps are too steep, aren't they? I said, well, I don't have to do this. So I said, I don't have to do this if you don't want me to. And then it occurred to me, he doesn't want me to. The kid has done nothing but complain. Now he's complaining. Now I got two people I have to fight in a safety condition because everybody wants to stand behind the lawnmowers that's going up the ramps. It's so dangerous. What if something breaks? That's going to roll back on them. Stand out of the way. I don't even want them there, to be honest. But everybody seems to think they got to stand around. But I'm not going to argue with two people. I can handle arguing with one. I eventually convince them, okay, here's what we're going to do. But when you got two people and you start to answer one question, another guy starts to interrupt you, it's just impossible. So I took the jumper cables off the battery, threw them back in the truck, closed the club cab door on the truck, walked to the back, put the ramps back in the truck, shut the tailgate and said, have a good day, gentlemen. And I got in the truck and I drove off. Now, Carolyn always is with me when we go. I think she does it for two reasons. She likes to drive. Those lake lots are pretty nice. But she does it for my safety. You know, there's a witness if, you know, mass axe murder. So I appreciate that. And then she can also operate the winch button. If something gets jammed up, I can go and work on the lawnmower to make sure it goes up on the, you know, steer it and all this, that kind of stuff. So she's helpful. And she's not in the way. She knows the process, so she can handle it. So I get in the truck and she said, what happened? I said, well, you heard. They were so worried about the ramps being too steep and I needed a trailer. And I explained the whole thing as I was walking up with the guy. I explained that all to Carolyn. And she really didn't mind. She seemed to understand. Wonder what that is. Text messages. Oh, it's AT&T. So they, so anyway, I fired another customer. What's interesting is, like I said, I don't know if I said this or not. I had a customer who recommended me. There's two guys who recommended me to this guy. So, and they both knew that I picked up lawnmowers because they both told him I pick up lawnmowers. What I guess I find so interesting is these guys are willing to let me go because they're so paranoid that, you know, I'm going to hurt their lawnmower or whatever, that they rather have a lawnmower not running than have me actually work on it. Now, I will admit, this lawnmower, I mean, he has kept it in absolutely immaculate condition. I don't even know how you keep a lawnmower that clean and scratch free. It is quite incredible how nice it looked. Not a grass clipping on it. So then I have to ask myself, was it brand new? And if it's brand new, why is the belt already, you know, messed up? Take it back to the dealer. I don't know. But but it had a yellow deck. The new ones have green decks now, so it has to be at least 2 or 3 years old. My point is you look, here's the thing. When he called, it was Good Friday. So that's one, you know, huge signal. They don't respect me. They assume that I'm just going to drop everything and do whatever it is they want me to do. Then he called my previous customers, the two that recommended me. Oh, they're not very memorable. Because what I said was he gave me their names, and I don't have a memory of them right this minute. I'll have to look them up, which I did. Then I knew who they were. I typically remember the mower more than I remember the person, because I don't spend any time with the person. And so I remember who it was. And when I said, you know, I don't remember them, he says, oh, that's all right. They're not that memorable. So that was my second clue that he was pretty arrogant. Then when I backed up to the garage and I looked in and I saw that mower sitting there and it was in immaculate condition, I was like, yeah, this is not going to be a fun project. This is me going to be constantly dealing with the customer calling and saying, is everything okay with that mower? So, I mean, I was already kind of starting to walk on eggshells, and then when the guy came out, after I told him, no, please stay inside, because of the safety conditions, no, I'm coming out. I was like, oh, this is just going to be a nightmare. So, I know I don't enjoy firing people. I apologize to that subscriber, but I don't think I'm ever going to enjoy it. I want to keep my reputation, but you know, I think about mechanics a lot, and I've dealt with people like this. I think you'd rather have a good mechanic who has, like the soup Nazi on Seinfeld. No soup for you. No more for you. There's a process. Stick with the process. I'm good at what I do. I will get you what you need, but you cannot interfere and mess things up. So if you'll click this up next box to take you to a video over to my other channel, I'd really appreciate it. Go check it out. So I hope I can inspire you. I don't know. Be nice to the service guys so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.